Hi everyone and welcome to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I want to invite you to click that subscribe button down below and also click that little notification bell next to the subscribe button so that you can be notified whenever I post new videos. Today, I'm going to show you guys how to make this amazing 3D shark cake. I made this cake for my son's birthday. He loves sharks and it's also perfect because it's Shark Week. So I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, give this video a big thumbs up and also don't forget to subscribe. To get started, I have an 18 by 12 inch cake pan which I've greased and I'm going to line with parchment paper, and to that I'm going to add some marble cake batter. So what I do is add my vanilla cake batter first, and then I go ahead and drizzle in the chocolate cake batter, and with a sharp little object I just go ahead and create little swirl patterns to make that marbleization. And I'm going to need two 18 by 12 inch cakes. So I go ahead and bake these off at 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes, or until a toothpick inserted in the center of the cakes comes out clean. Once my cakes are completely cooled, I go ahead and remove them from the cake pans, and what I'm going to do is trim off that caramelized top so that when we simple syrup, the simple syrup actually soaks through the cake. Then I go ahead and simple syrup the cake and I let it sit for a few minutes so that it soaks up all the goodness. What I have here is my first cake board. This cake is going to have two cake boards. The first one, which is the bottom cake board, is going to be 14.5 by 6 inches. And this cake is perfect because it's 12 inches and I need to cut it in half so that I have two 6-inch cakes that are going to be stacked on top of each other. I go ahead and add some buttercream onto my cake board. Then I add my first cake layer. I'm going to trim off the little excess because the cake board is 14.5 inches and the cake is 18 inches. Then I fill this cake with some delicious cookies and cream buttercream, and I go ahead and add my second cake layer on top. Then I'm going to add the end pieces that I just cut off the cake, and I'm going to place these on top. I'm going to need the bottom layer to be a little slanted because the cake board that we're going to add on top needs to be slanted so that we get that nice curvature for the head of the shark. Then once I get that angle that I wanted, I go ahead and add the second cake board, which is 15 by 6 inches. So it's just a ½ inch bigger than the bottom cake board. And I go ahead and remove my other cake and I'm going to trim it in half and place this on top of the cake board, fill it, and stack the cakes together. Now I'm going to go ahead and trim this bottom cake so that I have it at an angle, because the steeper part of the cake is going to be the shark's head, and then as it goes down at a curve, that's going to be the shark's body. So I'm just trimming off the excess cake to have a nice downward angle. Now using some light blue buttercream, I'm going to go ahead and cover the entire cake, give it a nice crumb coat. And before I forget, I'm going to place some dowels to the bottom cake layer just so that when we add the cake board and second cake layer on top, it doesn't squish the cake down and crumbles and collapses. So this is going to keep the cake nice and sturdy. And here I have a shark template that I made just so I can know kind of where I want the cake to curve and angle down. And I'll be leaving all the links to the templates down below in the description box. And looking at my template, the nose needs to be a little more profound. So I grabbed another cake scrap and I'm just adding this onto the front of the cake to create that longer nose effect. Now before I give this cake a complete crumb coat, I have let it set in the refrigerator for a few hours just so that it's nice and stiff, or you can put it in the freezer for maybe like 30 minutes and it makes it nice and stiff, perfect for carving. And what I'm going to do is grab my knife and just carve, kind of get it the same shape as the template. And using a small paring knife, I'm going to go ahead and cut off the mouth shape at the bottom of the cake. And I needed a few more cake scraps at the very top of the head, so I added a few more cake scraps, and I'm just going to carve and add cake scraps as I go and until I'm happy and satisfied with the shape of the cake. Once I'm satisfied with the way the cake looks, I'm going to give it a crumb coat with some blue ganache. Then I let that set and I give it a second coat with some buttercream and let it set once again. Now that my cake is set, what I'm going to do is grab some fondant, and in the bottom part of the mouth, I'm going to add a nice strip going around the gum line, just to make that gum line a little more profound. Now here I have 5 pounds of white fondant, which I'm going to roll out into a huge circle big enough to cover our shark cake. And what I do is just roll this over my rolling pin and I unroll it carefully over the cake and tuck in all the indentations in the mouth first before it cracks, and then go ahead and smooth the entire cake with a fondant smoother. Then I trim off the excess fondant around the bottom perimeter of the cake using an X-Acto knife. Using a small rolling pin, I'm going to indent the shark's front part of the nose just to make it look a little bit skinnier and a little more profound and give it kind of that bone structure that a shark's nose has. Using a fondant tool, I'm going to poke the little nostrils at the very kind of top center part of the cake. Then I'm going to indent some wrinkles under the nose because sharks have like these really wrinkly noses. I'm going to indent the wrinkles right there under the nostrils. And then using my small rolling pin, I go ahead and use the end of it to press in where I want the eye to be. I just kind of roll it into there to create a nice indented shape for the eyeball, and also it's going to make that bone-like structure at the very top of the eyeball appear. And using my rolling pin and my fondant tool, I'm just going to create wrinkles at the top and back part of the shark's body. Then I turn it over and I create the indentation for the eyeball, and I create more wrinkles as I go. Using my fondant tool, once again, I indented at the sides of the shark's body to create the gills. Now that I finished the bone structure of the shark, what I'm going to do is spray this using some black color mist spray, and I'm just going to spray it really lightly because I want to have like a gray tone. So I'm just spraying it really lightly. Since this is a great white shark cake and great white sharks transition from that grayish color and the bottom of their body is white, I'm only shading the top and back part of the cake in this grayish color. So after using my black color mist spray, it does not look black, it looks purple. So what I'm going to do is grab a paintbrush with some black food color, which I've diluted with some vanilla extract, and I'm going to brush this onto the shark cake. And I don't know what I did, I made a disaster. I was not happy at all with the coloring of the shark, so I just wiped it off and I sprayed a little more of that black color mist spray even though it looked purple. And then I had to go run to the store and buy some silver color mist spray, and I sprayed over the black part with the silver, and it actually came out looking gray, so I was actually really happy with the way it turned out. Now for the inside of the shark's mouth, I have some really light pink fondant here, which I'm going to roll out, and I'm going to add this to the bottom and top part of the shark's mouth. And here I have some black fondant, which I'm going to roll out into 2 small balls, and I'm going to squish them down a little bit. These are going to be the shark's eyes. And I just press these into the little eye sockets that I made. Now when I looked at shark pictures, their eyes are really shiny. So what I did is I grabbed some corn syrup and I just painted a tiny bit onto the eyeball to make it really nice and shiny. And to add a little sparkle to their eye, I just made a tiny white dot of fondant and placed it right there on the eye. Now this shark is looking a little too cute, so what I'm going to do to make it look a little more vicious is I'm going to add some blood to it. And I make my blood by adding some red food color to some corn syrup. And what I'm going to do is just rub this all over the inside of the mouth, and I'm also going to even let some drip so that it looks like it just bit into something and the blood is dripping down its mouth. Now I'm making the shark's teeth out of gum paste. So what I have here is some white gum paste, which I'm just cutting into small triangles. I have some that are a little smaller for the teeth in the back section and some that are a little bigger for the teeth in the front section, because sharks have, I think, 2 layers of teeth. They probably have more, I'm not sure. But they have tons of teeth, so I'm cutting them in all different sizes. And I'm using gum paste because it sets up a lot better than fondant does, and they'll hold that structure. So I start adding the teeth in the bottom, and I add them a little more towards the inside because that's going to be the first layer of teeth, and then I add some right at the gum line. That's the second layer of teeth. Here I'm using my template to help guide me in making my fin, and I'm making my fin out of gum paste. Before my gum paste sets, I'm going to add 2 little skewers to it so that when I connect it to the cake, it has something to help support it up. And then I'm going to go ahead and color this using a little bit of my black and silver color mist spray to match the shark. And I let it set. And I go ahead and add the fin towards the back top part of the shark's body. As you can see, I've placed my shark cake onto a wooden cake board because it was really heavy, so it needs a sturdy support system to hold it up, and this wooden cake board is perfect. And what I'm going to do is cover the front half part of the cake board in some blue buttercream. Then I have some graham cracker crumbs and brown sugar mixed together for the sand, and I'm going to place this on top of the buttercream. And the buttercream just helps the edible sand stick to the cake board. Then I'm going to grab some more of my blue buttercream and cover the remainder of the cake board in the blue buttercream, and this is going to be the water. And I'm going to just rub this in a nice wavy form so that it looks like actual waves. And once I reach the back part of the shark, I'm going to make the waves cover the back part of his body. The reason why I didn't make the shark's full body is because I wanted to make it seem like he was jumping out of the water, so it seems like the rest of his body is still in the water, and that's why I'm adding the waves covering the back part of his body. And this amazing shark cake is complete. I hope that you guys enjoy this shark cake. I made this cake for my son's birthday. He loves sharks, and this is also perfect because it is Shark Week. This is the perfect cake, and it's also a wonderful cake for any summer occasion. It is so amazing. I'm so happy with the wet, shiny look that the shark has. It is just so cool. The teeth are amazing. I am in love with this cake. I hope that you guys enjoy it as much as I do. If you do, give this video a big thumbs up, and also don't forget to subscribe. Don't be stingy. Hit that subscribe button.